Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jerrel. I am a commercial games developer. I run my own game development studio. I make commercial games, but I also make free homebrew games that people can enjoy for free, and that's my way to thank my supporters who enjoy my games and help spread the word. So today I will be taking a look at the latest set of gameplay trailers that we received for Bleach Rebirth of Souls. These are pretty neat. I've got 4 videos to look at here. I have the gameplay overview, Ichigo, Uryu, and Rukia. So I'll be analyzing these trailers as a game developer, not as a fan of the series, despite the fact that I am a pretty big Bleach fan. But I'll be approaching this analysis from a game development standpoint. I'll be pointing out things that I enjoy, things that I appreciate, and just little details that I've noticed that I really like, and a couple of other things as well that I think are interesting. So, the first thing that I want to point out that I thought was interesting, I really appreciate what they've done with the hair highlights that help the hair stand out. Again, this is to style match the hand-drawn anime, and something they've done, I'll point this out later on as well, is the artists have done an incredible work maintaining the proportions of the facial features. You know, at a glance, if you were to quickly glance at that, you might be mistaken and would guess that, oh yeah, that's hand-drawn 2D art based on the proportions. You know, there's still some indicators that it exists in 3D space, but this is the best that Bleach has looked in 3D that I have seen personally. Again, we see a bit of the gradient here in the hair where it's a darker color down here, and as you go up, you know, it gets lighter, and that's not lighting, that is gradient that's baked into the shader. I can't really think of any other games that I've seen that in, so I really like that. There's so much life to the character animations, as we'll see at 43 seconds here. Just the way that Ichigo grabs his sword. You know, it's not just a standard, I'll just reach up and grab it. You know, he has, you know, sort of expressiveness to it where it feels like there's weight, and he's dragging his hand, you know, and then he whips it, you know, in order to express a sense of kinetic energy. Really fantastic. I really appreciate those, the wrap on the sword, the way it unfurls, really well done. To me personally, I would not want to have to do that myself. That's something that would be very challenging. So something that I'm not super enthused about, and I'm hoping this is only as a result of this still being early in development, is the way that they've used physics simulation on Ichigo's shuhakusho, on his, you could call it his pant legs. The upper part of his pant legs, or his shuhakusho, are rigid. They are not physics simulated, and you can see harsh edges where the physics simulation does start, and you'll see harsh angles there. So let's go ahead and play that, and you'll see that the upper part of his leg, it does not look good, which is interesting because I'll point something out later on in the video. So there you can see his shuhakusho legs are hard and rigid up top, but then down there you can see that they flow and they are physics simulated. So that, it looks pretty rough, and there are certain scenes where it just looks pretty bad. But later on, I'll show you later on the video where I have a feeling this is just early in development and they are still working on it. So something something that I really like here is at 106, and that is the lighting on the eye here is done to match the anime, which is the hand-drawn 2D art. Really fantastic. I really appreciate this attention to detail. This is not something that occurs ever at all when you just have, you know, a dynamic 3D environment. That's not something that can even happen by accident. That's something that the artists have done with intent, and it helps sell it as a genuine, you know, part of Bleach, and it does, you know, match the anime quite well. So what I really like here at 109 are the expressive facial animations, and it matches the hand-drawn art, which can be big and dynamic. But there are certain nuances here, like the wrinkles here between the nose and the eye. Those are things that do not occur in 3D. That can't even happen by accident in 3D. Those are hand-drawn or handmade and those would have been put in with serious intent and significant artistic consideration. So I really, I appreciate even just the small stuff. There's where the leg, I think, looks worse, is this knee has this harsh, 90-degree angle there almost. That's an exaggeration. That's not a 90-degree, but you see it's very harsh there. So you can clearly see this part of the leg is rigid. It is not physics animated, and this part is physics animated. And that, I believe, is just an oversight, because there's no reason why they would not have the whole thing be physics animated. I believe it's early in development, and it is an oversight. Something at 150, I'll go ahead and scoot forward just a wee bit, is just the attention to detail for camera work. The scripting for the camera work is excellent. And what I mean by that is whoever is controlling the scripting for the camera understands the visual storytelling, especially they're familiar with the source material. The fact that they understand the word Bankai doesn't just have power in terms of, oh, the character gets stronger. It has power in terms of the story. So they zoom in onto his mouth when he says Bankai. You see the intensity in his eyes, but you can still see the animation of his mouth. Really well done. We have the low camera shot looking up that makes Byakuya. It conveys a sense of power and that you're beneath him. Really fantastic. So excellent camera work. That's something I really appreciate. Something I really like here is the understated design of the user interface, or the heads-up display. You can see the colors are actually quite subdued, and they're understated, and they're functional down here. You have some functional color down here. You have some animation down here, which is important when you need to know if you have this ability available. But it's understated, and I really appreciate that, because it helps keep your eyes directed towards what is important, which is the action, the particle effects, your character attacks, so you can react to what the other character's actions are. So that's really well done. I really appreciate the direction they've taken with the heads-up display there. Something I really like is this upward-facing camera shot, low camera angle facing up. Again, it builds a sense of power that you are about to get hit by somebody who is significantly stronger than you. So I really appreciate the camera work here, really fantastic. At 222, there's a couple of examples of this, but I especially like this shot here. And that shows the battle damage on the character. Not just that, but these lines under the eyes indicate a sense of fatigue and weariness, like he's been fighting for a while now. And again, that's something that has to have been hand drawn. That's just artistic direction. We get that fantastic dynamic lighting in the eye that matches the hand-drawn art in the anime. Extremely well done. This is just brilliant. It's visually just masterful. This is a display of complete mastery over not just 2D art, but 3D art. It's bringing those two things together. And in my opinion, this is probably the best 2D, 3D hybrid art that I've seen in a game. And that is because of all of the artistic direction, the intent, the active decisions that the artists have made here. Really fantastic. There is no other 3D game that I've seen that employs this level of 2D philosophy. Just brilliant, really fantastic. So I really appreciate the work that they've done here. So something that I want to point out is at 234, which is the he's behind me, isn't he shot. 234. So again, you can see some of the that appears to be real-time lighting, a bit of that soft red light coming through there. All right, so you can see that. That's quite nice. I really like that highlight there. So just on the bridge of his nose, you see a bit of that red light. There's a bit of the red light coming through there. So really nice. So I just noticed this. I like that hair shader there, the highlight in the hair just there. I really like that. Right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next video. We'll have a look at Ichigo. So the first note that I would like to make is at 25 seconds. And what I really like is this momentary slowdown where the character is moving at speed, but we have a moment where it slows down and just hangs there for a second and then it speeds back up. That just builds a sense of drama and power, you know, and it's so important when you're playing a game and you wonder, where's the drama? Well, here it is, folks. I think it's so well done. I really appreciate that. So, also something I think is pretty funny, if you just pause it. All right, and this is, you know, when they say don't pause on the in-between frames. This is like one of those frames like people meme on the internet, like Sasuke about to blow a fireball, you know, don't pause on the in-betweens. I think this is just a funny frame. Obviously, I don't have any complaints. It's just one of those funny situations where you're not supposed to pause on the in-between frames. I thought that was pretty funny. So, something that is so visually neat is the use of gradients. So again, this is a better indicator, an example of the use of gradients on the character shader. You see the Shuhakusho is lighter down below and darker as you get to the top, and that helps characters stand out and not feel so dull against the environment, adds a sense of visual dynamic. And you can see, you know, lighter down there and then darker towards the top. So such an interesting way to have the characters pop out a little bit more. And you can see that example here as well. So I quite like that. You know, it's not overused. This is the strongest example I've seen it, but it's quite nice. And at 37, we have the he's behind me, isn't he shot. So that's at 37. And at 41 seconds, we have this fantastic animation. I really like this frame here that, you know, that's his shocked face that you would probably recognize from the anime. And at 41 seconds, the way that they've used this animation here when he yells Bankai, it's so lively, it's understated, can be difficult to appreciate something subtle, but the way that he just sort of leans back to catch his, you know, to get some breath and accentuate the word Bankai, the way his head tilts back and then leans forward again with intensity. You get those skin wrinkles between the eyes, and it was really well done. So fantastic work on the animation and the art here. And at 51 seconds, I just wanted to point out how great the sleeve animation, again, this is so small, it's so understated, but the physics simulation on the sleeve, just have a look at his sleeve here. Just that small flourish, but it's small details like that that help it feel lively. And this looks significantly better than other sleeves, like some of the Shuhakushos when he's wearing a Shuhakusho with a bigger, baggier sleeves. The parts that are close to his body don't look that good, but this looks fantastic. That's so well done. So let's go ahead and move on to Uryu. Now, something that makes me laugh is the voice actor that plays Uryu is the exact same voice actor that plays every single intellectual glasses type anime character. If you've seen an anime that has an intellectual character usually wearing glasses, like, you know, one of the seasons of Digimon, Ken, is that his name? He looks very similar to Uryu, has the exact same voice actor. I don't know why this actor gets typecast in all these roles. I feel bad for him. Maybe he wants to play other types of characters. So something I noticed that's quite neat is Uryu's shooting style, his archery form. It's you know, obviously it's a fantasy. This is a made up, you know, sort of fantasy world, but this is quite inspired by Kyudo, which is Japanese traditional form of archery. The form that he's using is very similar. So it's clearly inspired by the Japanese form of shooting. So very neat. Obviously, they've taken liberties because this is just a fantasy thing, but I thought that was a nice attention to detail, that the form is very similar to the traditional Japanese form. He's behind me, isn't he shot? And at 34, this is just fantastic. I really appreciate this kind of visual storytelling. His head, you know, the posing here is just fantastic. And again, it's so subtle, but it's great posing. His head slightly tilted, this look of disgust and shock. And it matches the characters. You know, every character has kind of distinct facial expressions. Some characters are more understated than others. So really well done. And something I noticed with the Let's Steal shot here at 56, I don't have a ton to say about this gameplay. You know, it's, you know, if I don't have anything to say, I'm not going to say it. But something I noticed a little bit, you know, you get a closer look at his Let's Steal here. And it's a little bit different from when he's shooting his standard arrows. It's more careless. It's like a very reckless style of shooting. When you traditionally in archery, when you aim, you have your anchor point near your eye or towards your face, so you can aim towards your target. But when he's drawing to the chest, you don't have a sight picture, so it's extremely difficult. You can shoot like that. It takes a genetic disposition and an absurd amount of training to have consistency to shoot and be consistent and accurate when you draw to your chest. So to me, this tells me that he's saying, I don't even need to aim. I'm that good at archery, and I'm going to hit my target anyway. So the fact that he's changed his form a little bit, it's a bit more reckless and arrogant. Very cool that I'm wondering if he uses that sort of shooting form for other stuff, but that's, you know, his super powerful form anyway. So let's go ahead and move on to Rukia. So something I really like here, this is the first thing I noticed on this video that I really liked, is at 30 seconds, you see the character slashes. I was kind of wondering why they make it so obvious and big, you know, that these slashes. I thought it was a little distracting at first, but I kind of get it. It's really exciting now when you just barely miss getting hit by a slash, and those effects make it clear where the hit range is, and you can see she just barely missed that. It's really fantastic. I really like that. So the particle effects for standing on air and walking on air, I am not really a fan of it because it looks too much like ice. When I saw Rukia using ice, but it turns out everyone has it, I think it's not that fitting. And at 36 seconds, let's see here. He's behind me, isn't he? Shot. Okay. I also really like this right here at 38. This is great. Great facial expression. The I got stabbed, didn't I? Look, so fantastic. Really well done. I really like at 44 seconds, the physics simulation is slowed down on the fabric. You get that speed up, you know, tasteful use of slow-mo. Really fantastic. So well done. Excellent job on the animation team there. Really fantastic. And something that you can see here, especially here, I'll play it again, is if you have a look at the legs of the Shuhakusho, they are fully physics animated. There's no reason, you know, previously in the video I pointed out Ichigo's Shuhakusho legs were not fully physics simulated. Here, the legs are fully physics simulated. It's flowing, it looks natural, it looks great. It is not difficult, it is not time consuming to set that up, but you do have to manually set that up for physics simulation. So here we see that the development team obviously can do it. They do know how to do it. I really hope that they fix the legs on Ichigo's Shuhakusho because I think it looks really, really weak. And another example that we can see how much more natural Rukia's Shuhakusho looks is you can see that they do bend more naturally. You can see that again, it has full physics simulation and it looks significantly better than Ichigo's. Okay, I really like a couple final details here before we wrap things up. Is I really like the physics simulation on that sash there. I hope I'm not giving you a seizure, but just on the sash there you can see it. I'll slow it down a little bit. Just excellent flourishes like that, you know, that helps sell that these characters are emitting power. And at 58 seconds, I really like this dynamic. Battle damage on the face. Again, we've had better examples of it, but I think it's very well done, very, very expressive. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look at that video. I want to thank my latest Patreon subscribers, Annie and Mark, and Cameron Tinker. Thank you guys so much for supporting me on Patreon. For my Patreon supporters, I've just put up, I created a royalty-free music pack. It's a soundtrack pack, and that is Horror Music Pack 1. There are 9 unique tracks in there. One of them is a variation that is at a faster tempo. You can use those for your YouTube videos, your games, whatever you're working on. I'll be selling those on digital storefronts online, but for the patrons, they'll have access to that soundtrack for free. I'll be creating probably one royalty-free soundtrack pack a month, and the Patreon supporters who support me will have access to all of those for free. So thanks so much, you guys. I'm working on more cool stuff, homebrew games, you know. I'll be focusing on PS Vita a bit more now that I was able to get my ability to develop and launch games on PS Vita for homebrew. I've had that fixed up and restored, so I'll be making more PS Vita games. On screen you can see a couple of my latest games that I've launched on the Nintendo Switch eShop, so if you'd like to check those out and support me, please check those out. You can see this itch.io, I have free games on there. And if there's any other games you'd like me to take a look at, please let me know in the comment section. Thanks everyone, take care of yourselves, I'll see you in the next video, or I guess you'll see me if I'm on camera. I'm not really sure how to do an outro.